Hi, my name is Dr. Nathan Groot. I am a music instructor at the Arkansas School for Mathematics, Sciences, and the Arts, where I teach string ensemble and applied string lessons, among other courses. Today, we're going to be looking at The Jolly Sailor, which is an audition excerpt for the Cadet Orchestra in the North region of Arkansas for Arkansas All Region. This comes from Strictly Strings, Book 2. So let's look at the key really quickly. We are in the key of either D major or B minor, probably B minor actually, but we have two sharps here. So let's practice both of those keys. Let's start with the one that you might be more familiar with, D major. Let's play starting on open D, D string, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, and then back down. So that's this finger pattern on your D string and your A string. So let's play B minor really quickly, which is what this is actually in. So B minor is the relative of D major. These two keys start on different notes, but share a key signature. So we're just gonna play a B minor scale, starting on B, ending on B, and we're going to play all the same notes that are in D major. This is a natural minor scale. So if you haven't heard about this yet, or it sounds really confusing or scary, don't worry too much, just play with me, okay? So B on your G string, second finger, C sharp, high 3, open D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, and then back down. So if you happen to go on the G string in a piece that's in D major or B minor, you're going to be using a high 3. And in fact, on your G and C strings, you're going to have this finger pattern on the in D major or B minor. So the main thing that's important here is to remember that all your Fs are sharp and all your Cs are sharp. Let's look at our time signature. So we have 2, 4. The top number is how many, the bottom number is what. We're counting quarter notes, and how many are there? There are 2 in each measure. So we have 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So not too complicated, but we have some interesting rhythms here. This excerpt happens on page 20 of this book. What I want you to do is actually look at the top of this page. We have a very interesting exercise here. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a. So without even worrying about the left hand, I want us to try that. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a, where we play just 16th notes and then we play the rhythm that happens in the first measure of our excerpt. So let's play it just on an A string. Let's play it on a loop. 1 E and a 2 E and a, ready, go. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a. So as you play these rhythms with an 8th note and then 2 16th notes, to make sure that the 8th note is long enough, make sure that you're thinking about those 2 16th notes that are contained within that 8th note. So the other rhythm I think we should look at that might be a little tricky happens on the 3rd measure of the 2nd line, where mezzo piano is marked. So we have a quarter note, and then we have a dotted 8th note, and then a 16th note. So let's go back and kind of apply a similar little exercise to this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna play 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 1. We're going to do this with the hooked bowing that happens in this piece. A hooked bowing is when the bow stops and goes in the same direction before going in a different direction. So a slurred bowing, hooked bowing, down, down, up, up, there's a stop between those. The reason this is a hooked bowing is because of the staccatos over these notes. So let's try this just on an open A. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up. Let's try it. 1, 2. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 a 2 a da 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 da. The challenge with this rhythm in particular is it really wants to become a triplet. So it wants to be this. Where it's sort of split into 3, but we want it to be 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 1. So really, as you practice this, be thinking about all those 16th notes that are contained within that dotted 8th note. So I would encourage you to practice this with a metronome. As you work on really figuring out this rhythm, I would encourage you to sing it with a metronome and also count it with a metronome. So if you're singing it, I would recommend using the syllable ta or something similar that starts with a hard consonant. Ta, 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 ta. So using a syllable like that will help you actually start the note at the right time instead of like something with a soft consonant, right? So the other way I want you to practice this is by counting it. And I will count it all the way through just to kind of show you what that might sound like. Ready? And 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 2 1 2 a 1 and 2 and 1 2 a 1 and 2 and 1 2 a 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 2. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the bow, the dynamics, and the articulations. So I would recommend playing this around the middle or maybe the balance point. So not at the tip, not right at the frog. So we start out seeing staccatos. We're going to want a space after each of those staccatos, some silence, so it's going to be a little bit shorter. Legato would be really connected. This is legato, this is staccato. Hear the difference? So you're going to be stopping your bow and restarting it between each of those, not connecting them, right? You'll see a marking in the third measure. Similarly, this means you're going to continue on with the same articulations all the way through. So don't think that everything just turns super legato after the first 2 measures. This continues. We're also starting this out forte. So when we're playing forte, we're going to want to be using more weight, more speed, and a contact point that's closer to the bridge. Because this is kind of a little bit percussive, we need to be controlled with our bow. I would recommend relying more on weight and contact point than speed. Because if you use too much bow, you're going to be out of control, your bow's going to be all over the place. I would keep things a little bit compact, and to achieve that forte, just move it closer to the bridge and use more weight. So on the second measure of the second line, we have these accents, and this occurs at the very end as well. We have accents means you're emphasizing a note, and we have 2 in a row, which is a little bit challenging. We need to make sure that the beginning of the note has a punch to it. So make sure that especially the beginning of the note, ba, ba, sort of like you're hammering something, right? So as you come through here, second line, you can use more speed. So you're using more weight and more speed to really emphasize those notes where those accents are. Now, the next measure after that, we go from forte down to mezzo piano. Suddenly, there's no decrescendo or anything. So we end with these accented notes, and then we need to change our contact point. Bring our bow closer to the fingerboard, bring it a little further away from the frog, and use less weight, less speed. So this section, you want to make sure that you bring that dynamic level down, right? Then we have a crescendo. As you play this, your bow should be moving closer to the bridge, and you should be adding more weight and more speed. You should just be expanding there to go from mezzo piano to fortissimo, the loudest dynamic in the piece. And then that ending should be bum, bum, nice and loud, nice and emphasized with those accents. So bringing these dynamics out will really make your performance and your audition shine. All right, so for the next part of the video, I'm just gonna play it at different tempos. Make sure that you're not only using this type of practice, so playing it from beginning to end and then changing the tempo and just doing that over and over again, because it's not that effective if you only use this type of practice. Make sure that you are listening carefully to what you're playing, identifying problems, diagnosing them, solving them, and then putting it back into context. So if there's a measure that you trip up on, isolate that measure and only work on that measure and see if you can solve that problem and then put it back into the whole context before you speed it up, right? So I'm gonna be playing these at different tempos, and you're welcome to play along with me. Just make sure that it's not the only way that you're practicing. Okay, this is 60 beats per minute. 1, 2, ready, go. This is 70. 1, 2, ready, go. This is 80. 1, 2, ready, go. This is 90. 1, 2, ready, go. This is 100. 1, 2, ready, go. This is our goal tempo, 110. 1, 2, ready, go. Alright, so I hope that this was somewhat helpful for you. If you have any questions, or if I glossed over anything, if you want to double check on something, definitely feel free to comment below, reach out to me through my website or through my social media. I'd love to hear from you. I wish you the very best of luck at your audition, and as always, happy practicing.